At the heart of Central Asia lies a hidden oasis, surrounded by tranquility, waiting for those who wish to explore it. This region, blessed with riches and favored by illustrious rulers throughout history, is Uzbekistan, a place where people exude warm hospitality and keep a distinct culture alive. The country is a guardian of its ancestors' heritage and a bastion of Islam, representing a unique refuge in Central Asia. There was a time when this land was the epicenter and the capital of the Islamic world. Samarkand, known as the Pearl of the East, and Bukhara, a thriving center of Islamic flourishing, were jewels of this nation. Personalities like Ibn Sina, al-Khwarizmi, al-Farghani, and al-Bukhari enriched science under the mantle of this civilization. Uzbekistan's cities are time capsules. During the era of Timur, some of the most grand and splendid cities in the world rose under Uzbekistan's rule. Timur is often celebrated as the most iconic figure in Uzbek history. His leadership was crucial in protecting Central Asia against Mongol invasions, thus preserving the legacy and lineage of the Uzbek people. Under Timur's reign, Uzbekistan witnessed the flourishing of significant madrasas, schools dedicated to Islamic education. The Rajasthan madrasas in Samarkand, recognized by UNESCO, stand out as pioneers in the Central Asian region. Today, the Islamic essence of the region still shines in its fullness. Uzbekistan, as a nation, is home to approximately 35 million inhabitants and gained its independence only 32 years ago, following the collapse of the Soviet Union. Despite experiencing a period of Soviet influence between 1924 and 1991, the Uzbek people have steadfastly maintained their cultural identity, language, and a deep connection with Islam. The currency of Uzbekistan is the sum, with the US dollar equivalent to approximately 11,500 sums. The country is a significant producer of cotton and wheat, exporting these products to various nations. A considerable portion of Uzbeks work abroad, sending financial remittances to their families back home. Despite the wealth of natural resources such as gas, oil, and gold, many Uzbeks still do not enjoy a high standard of living. Uzbekistan continues its development process, 3 decades after the end of Soviet control, striving for constant progress. In contrast, a 2-hour train journey from Samarkand to Bukhara reveals another spectacular historical heritage. Bukhara was once the third most important city on the legendary Silk Road. In this city stands one of the tallest and oldest minarets in the world, the Kalyan Minaret, erected in 1127. This historical monument survived the Mongol invasion and still stands today, symbolizing the cultural resilience of the region. In Uzbekistan, the art of carpet weaving represents a notable tradition. While Iran is often renowned for its carpets, Uzbek weaving is equally prestigious. Uzbek women skilled in carpet making weave works of art that are sold in local markets as a source of income. These handmade products are offered at affordable prices within the country, but face high export taxes. Illustrating the impact of taxes on imports, in Tashkent, over 90% of vehicles are of the Chevrolet brand. Due to high tariffs on imported products, General Motors, a global automotive conglomerate, established a factory in Uzbekistan to produce Chevrolet cars locally. This resulted in lower taxes for cars produced in the country, and now, a significant portion of vehicles on Uzbek roads are Chevrolet. Uzbekistan stands out not only for vehicle production, but also for hosting some of the largest bazaars in Central Asia. The covered market in Tashkent, when viewed from above, resembles the shape of a dome or a turtle shell. This place serves as a central hub for the city's inhabitants, where they conduct their daily shopping. When exploring the market, especially in the food section, vendors often offer samples of their products, encouraging visitors to make purchases. In Uzbek bazaars, you can also find curiosities such as vending machines for sunflower seeds, Samarkand halva, and locally known sour cheese called curd. In cities like Tashkent and Samarkand, in addition to various products, the famous Uzbek bread is a unique attraction. The making of this bread is an art in itself, practiced with such skill that bakers enter traditional clay ovens to bake it, showcasing the skill and tradition involved in this process. Uzbek bakers dedicate themselves intensely to the quality of their craft, making every necessary effort to create the most delicious bread possible. Watching the process of making Uzbek bread, a unique specialty of the country, is as fascinating and enjoyable as savoring it. It's rare to find bakers anywhere else in the world who put so much energy and love into a single product. This commitment is reflected in the exceptional quality of Uzbek bread. Uzbek bread also stands out for its nutritional composition, being richer and more satisfying than common bread due to the variety of ingredients used. It is said that soldiers used to carry this bread into battles because it could keep them nourished for up to a month without spoiling, according to Uzbek bakers themselves. On average, a bakery in Uzbekistan can produce around 8,000 of these traditional breads every day. In Uzbekistan, culinary attraction goes beyond its famous bread. The country is known as one of the most meat-loving nations in Central Asia and is also celebrated for its tasty street food. During the Soviet era, Uzbek culinary tradition was suppressed, resulting in a temporary loss of its essence. Currently, the streets of Uzbekistan have come back to life with flavor. Uzbek pride lies in its reputation as the heartland of pilaf in the world. Local restaurants start their operations early, around 8 a.m., dedicating themselves to the meticulous preparation of this iconic dish. They don't use regular pots for pilaf, but rather enormous cauldrons. These are loaded with generous amounts of meat, rice, chickpeas, carrots, and oil. For instance, to prepare a 100-kilogram pilaf, 40 liters of sunflower oil are used. The process begins with the combination of meat and oil in the large cauldron, cooking them to perfection. Uzbek preference leans towards well-done meat, so it is crucial to cook the meat in the oil until it loses its red color completely. Once the meat is well cooked, carrots and chickpeas are added to the cauldron, blending with the tender meat. Next comes the rice, the key component of Uzbekistan's national dish, which, when added, transforms the mixture into a lavish pilaf. During the cooking process, the cauldron is covered with trays, and after a few hours, the pilaf is ready to be enjoyed. This is the typical way of preparing the Uzbek national dish. When the pilaf is ready, chefs offer their prayers and carefully mix the ingredients, serving it to the delight of their customers. The characteristic color of Uzbek pilaf, which is not entirely white, comes from the carrots that tint the rice, giving it an appealing hue. In Uzbekistan, 3 components dominate the culinary scene: abundant bread, generous rice, and plenty of meat. These elements are pillars of Uzbek culinary culture. Therefore, for those planning to visit or live in Central Asian countries, it is essential to appreciate meat and be open to incorporating it into their regular diet. In addition to beef and lamb, the consumption of horse meat is common in Uzbekistan. In fact, some families prepare pilaf using this specific meat. However, this dietary practice has been associated with an increased risk of heart disease and vascular problems, especially among older individuals. In Kyrgyzstan and Uzbekistan, thousands of people face health challenges related to heart issues and arterial blockages. In Uzbek rural regions, there is a special type of pastry called samsa, which has a shape resembling a seashell. The inhabitants of these areas tend to avoid buying ready-made bread and pasta products, preferring to use traditional wood-fired ovens instead of gas stoves for cooking. This traditional cooking method is one of the key elements that enriches the flavor of Uzbek cuisine. Almost every household has a closed oven, used to prepare a variety of breads and pastries. Samsa dough can be filled with chicken or other types of meat, offering a diversity of flavors and textures. Uzbekistan certainly piques interest, not only for its historical sites and cuisine, but also for its vibrant everyday life. Tashkent, for example, is the most populous metropolis in Central Asia, with a population of 3 million. For those who have visited Russia, Tashkent may seem familiar in several aspects. The city's streets and avenues are notably wide, a distinctive feature that reflects Uzbekistan's extensive land area, spanning 449,000 square kilometers. This vast territory, coupled with a relatively small population, results in ample spaces between buildings and within the cities themselves. The architecture of Tashkent also shows similarities with Russian constructions, a legacy of the Soviet era. To this day, it's possible to find playgrounds from that period preserved on some streets. The existence of similar structures in almost all former Soviet states is an intriguing reality. Furthermore, Uzbekistan hosts a significant number of Russian immigrants. This is evident in many aspects of urban life, especially in the capital, where Uzbek and Russian signs coexist. The Russian language holds a special place in the daily lives of Uzbeks, with frequent presence of Russian writings, especially in bookstores and other cultural establishments. The Uzbek language has many similarities with Turkish, despite the geographical distance, highlighting a linguistic connection among Turkic-speaking countries. On the streets of Uzbekistan, it's common to encounter street vendors offering a variety of goods along the roads. Recently, Uzbekistan has been opening up to the world, with the arrival of renowned Western retail chains in the country. However, a distressing scene in Tashkent is the presence of children begging on the streets. They often approach passers-by for money, acting under the guidance of others, and quickly disappear when they don't succeed. On the streets, you may also notice artificially colored pigeons. At first glance, these birds may seem to belong to an exotic species, but they are actually painted, usually by people who charge for photographs with them. This practice has become an unusual way to make money. The Tashkent Metro is a vital element in the city's transportation system. Many residents rely on it for their daily commutes. Opened in 1977, it was the first metro system in Central Asia. In addition to its functionality, the Tashkent Metro is famous for its lavishly decorated stations, an impressive legacy of the Soviet era. Every metro station opened in Uzbekistan during that era still captivates people with its stunning visual design. For intercity travel, trains are a common mode of transportation in the country. Train staff don elegant uniforms and represent the professionalism of the service well. While the minimum wage in Uzbekistan hovers around $320, workers generally earn about $500. This has led many young Uzbeks to seek opportunities in European and American countries. Uzbekistan is a culturally rich and gastronomically diverse country, offering experiences that certainly captivate those who visit. However, there are still economic challenges that make the country not seen as an ideal place for long-term financial stability. For those who follow and enjoy this content, we invite you to become a channel member and support our work. Until next time,